name is Jennifer. I'm one of the health coaches with Symbol. So our topic today is rest well, work well. So we're going to talk about practical sleep habits to improve your energy and focus and overall health. For attending today, if it's applicable for your employer, if you receive either 25 points or one ticket for joining today. So in order to ensure that we have everyone accounted for, we were going to be taking attendance today using a link that's going to be in the chat box. So if you just will click on that link that's in the chat box and follow the instructions at some point before you log off today, that's how you're going to receive your points or get your ticket for today. So again, that link is going to be in the chat box. So you just need to click on that before you log off today. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So the things that we're going to be talking about today, our agenda for today is, of course, the importance of sleep. The next thing, talking about sleep hygiene, which is your environment when you sleep and your routine when you sleep. The other thing we're talking about is hormones in sleep and the impact of hormones on the sleep. The connection between diet and exercise and sleep is another thing we'll cover. We want to talk about your sleep positions when you sleep, stomach sleeper, side sleeper, all of that. We also want to discuss the challenge of shift work. Some of you may or may not be on night shift, but I know we have some people that work shift work. So I definitely want to make sure I cover a little bit about that. And then also when to seek medical help for sleep issues. Okay. All right. So let's get started. The importance of sleep. Everybody knows the importance of sleep. It's the foundation of our physical and mental well-being. It impacts our posture and our digestion, joint health, our mood, of course. If you've ever had a sleepless night, you know it puts people in a bad mood. So, and it also improving our sleep can lead to better work performance, better energy, focus, and memory, all things that are important to every person. So let's talk about your sleep hygiene, your environment when you sleep. Now, some of this stuff may have been something you've heard in the past, but I definitely want to make sure we reiterate this. So you want to make sure that you're sleeping in a sleep conducive room. So what does that mean? That would be a dark room, a quiet, comfortable room, and a cool room. According to the National Sleep Foundation, the optimal room temperature for sleeping is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty cold. Cooling the body stimulates the sleep cycle. So that's why that's recommended. You want to make sure that you're also using blackout curtains, eye shades, earplugs, maybe a white noise machine or a fan, some type of constant noise. That makes for a very sleep conducive room. You want to make sure you have a comfortable mattress and pillow. You also want to avoid any stimulating activities before bed, such as working on your computer or playing on your phone, anything like that, anything that's going to make you more awake or stimulate you. You want to try to avoid that within a few hours of going to bed. We want to talk about the routine. So a bedtime routine, you want to make sure you have a regular bedtime and wake time. And that routine is really important to establish. So when we talk about a bedtime routine, that might include taking a hot bath or a shower, might include reading a book or listening to some type of soothing music. A circadian clock that we all have in our body controls our sleep cycle, and it can be strengthened with a timely routine, such as waking up at a normal time, or not a normal time, waking up at the same time, and also going to bed at the same time. You want to do that even on the weekends, just making sure you've got that really regular bedtime routine. Separate your sleep time from your activities, kind of like what we already mentioned, because that causes stress or anxiety. You want to make sure that you're avoiding bright light. So bright light screens can keep us awake. So you want to disconnect from all electronics. They say at least 1 hour before bed is you want to get rid of that light. You want to avoid caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol. Caffeine is a stimulant actually that promotes alertness, as we all know, hence the reason a lot of us drink coffee in the morning, myself included. But that caffeine can actually affect some people up to 12 hours later. So really and truly a good cutoff time for caffeine is at least 6 to 8 hours before bedtime. Nicotine is also a stimulant. And then alcohol, of course, can disrupt sleep and cause a restless night as well. The last thing, you want to make sure you're finished eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, especially if you have acid reflux, that could bring on more acid reflux. And also, you want to make sure your food is digested pretty well before you've gotten in bed because it can cause some stomach upset or stomach discomfort. So, 2 to 3 hours before bed is when you want to stop eating. All right, so let's talk next about some hormones in your sleep. Hormones control many things in our body: weight loss, muscle gain, hunger, cravings, happiness. Poor sleep can lead to a number of hormone imbalances. So there's lots of hormones in our body. But there's four main ones I want to talk about today. So those are listed above: insulin, leptin, ghrelin, cortisol. Some of these you may have heard of, some of these you may not have heard of. Insulin, probably most people have heard of insulin before. It's a hormone released by the pancreas to regulate your blood sugar, and it allows glucose to enter the cells for energy and for storage. Okay. So the lack of sleep reduces the ability to use this glucose properly, which, if you're not using glucose properly, it can lead to type 2 diabetes. And like I mentioned, sleep is a huge impact, or lack thereof. It can have a huge negative impact on the insulin in your body. 4 nights of 4.5 hours of sleep per week, which that's not very much, can increase your insulin resistance by 16% in healthy adults, which is pretty significant. So it just goes to show you how much that insulin or how much sleep can affect that insulin number. Leptin, you may or may not have heard of this hormone before. Leptin is also called the fullness hormone or the hunger suppressing hormone. So reduced levels of this, if there's a lack of sleep, can cause you to eat more than your body actually needs. So you want that leptin, that hormone that tells you when you're full, you want that working at full capacity. On the flip side of that is ghrelin, which is also called the hunger hormone. So with the hunger hormone, sleep deprivation can lead to increased levels of this particular hormone, and it increases your feelings of hunger when you're not really actually hungry, you're just sleep deprived. So we also want that hunger hormone working the way it's supposed to, and sleep and that hormone, the way it acts in the body, work hand in hand. And then cortisol. Cortisol is kind of a big tag word now. I know I hear a lot about it on social media. People talk about it for many different things. So a lot of you may have heard of cortisol before. But what it is, it's a hormone produced by the adrenal glands, and it helps the body respond to stress. It helps the body regulate metabolism. It can control inflammation. So the cortisol tends to, or is supposed to be, low in the evening time. So if it's increased at nighttime, it interrupts the ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. Like I said, it's supposed to be low at nighttime to help with a restful night's sleep. So that's another hormone that can be directly impacted by the sleep that you're getting or the lack thereof. Okay, and it would not be a presentation without talking about diet and exercise and sleep. Since I'm the health coach here, let's talk about exercise first. Okay, so exercise regularly to do all of these things. First thing is to strengthen your circadian rhythm. So I talked a little bit about the circadian rhythm. So what it is, it's the body's natural internal 24-hour clock that regulates your sleep and your wakefulness and other biological processes in response to light and darkness. So regular exercise is going to help that circadian rhythm work how it's supposed to. Exercise is also going to help promote daytime alertness. Also, using that energy for exercise during the day helps you get sleepy at night. So regular exercise is recommended by the CDC, at least 30 minutes, 5 or more days a week. But keep this in mind. I talk to a lot of people and they're like, I don't have time to get in 30 minutes of anything 5 days a week. Any amount of exercise is better than none at all. So even you expending 10 minutes of energy during the day can potentially help you utilize that energy and get sleepy at nighttime. Of course, we also know that exercise can reduce stress as well. So, like I mentioned, any type of activity or regular exercise is going to be helpful for you. High intensity exercise can help keep your metabolism high, burning more fat for 24 to 48 hours after you work out. When I say high intensity exercise, I'm talking about anything that's really getting your heart rate going and keeping that heart rate high for a long period of time. So that could be swimming laps, that could be running, that could be walking up a steep hill. It's anything getting that heart rate really going. It is worth mentioning, though, do not exercise too close to bedtime. So, since exercise releases endorphins, those feel good hormones, that can make it a little harder to sleep. So, it would be safe to say no high intensity exercise within 2 to 3 hours of bedtime. Like I said, you want to do that exercise, if able, earlier in the day. So, talking a little bit also about the diet and the exercise and how that goes into the sleep. We already mentioned the exercise. One thing, or the first thing that I want to mention, is water is a major contributor to better sleep. Even a 2% shift in your hydration levels can affect your memory, your concentration, your strength, your mood. So we've got to make sure you're really pushing water throughout the day, whether it's hot or cold outside. You really need just as much water during the winter months as you do during the summer months, unless you're just sweating a lot. But the more water, the better. Of course, what and when you eat can improve your insulin resistance. So you want to make sure that you're getting just a balanced diet. There's not like a quote unquote a diet that you have to follow exactly, but we want to make sure to be really healthy. We want to get a variety of foods, right? We want to make sure we're choosing healthy fats like olive oil and olives and nuts, avocados. You want to also make sure that you are eating until you're content. All right. So, like I mentioned, you don't want to be overly full when you go to bed. Eating consistently during the day, you want most of your food during the day. That's when you're using the energy. So, you want to eat, when I say consistently, every 3 or 4 hours during the day. But staying, being full and being satisfied during the day can also help with sleep at night, because that way, if you restrict yourself too much during the day, you'll tend to overeat in the evening time, which again can lead to some poor sleep. Now, we want to make sure we've got a really good overall healthy diet, but like we already talked about with the exercise, you have to have both. You've got to have a good healthy diet and some form of regular activity. One thing to mention when it comes to your diet and sleep, which I kind of touched on a little bit, is you want to avoid high acidic foods like tomatoes or really spicy foods. They can lead to or worsen acid reflux, which can lead to really poor sleep or lack of sleep. Because when you tend to lie down, that acid tends to come up. So people tend to have a real problem with acid reflux in the evening time. So you want to avoid high acidic foods on a regular basis, but for sure right before bedtime. All right, we want to definitely make sure that we're touching on the best sleep position. So there's not a one size fits all answer. The best sleep position really depends on your unique needs. And if you have snoring or acid reflux or back pain, we want to look at kind of all the factors. So again, there's not a one size fits all, but we want to talk about some specific sleep positions. So let's first talk about side sleeping. This is probably the most popular type of sleeping position and often the best. It can help with sleep apnea, it can help with reflux, it can help with back pain as well. Specifically, left side sleeping can help reduce heartburn and improve digestion. That's the way your stomach empties out. So that's why they say left side sleeping can help. And left side sleeping is also the preferred position during pregnancy to support circulation. If you are a side sleeper, some tips for that. You want to make sure that you're using a really firm pillow to keep your neck aligned, and place a pillow even between your knees to support your hips and your lower back if you're a side sleeper. Back sleeping is the next position we want to discuss. It's great for spine alignment and it supports natural spine alignment. It does reduce pressure in the joints and it can minimize wrinkles and skin irritation, which is great. If you're sleeping on your back, you want to use a thinner pillow or even a cervical support pillow. You want to place a pillow under your knees to reduce that lower back strain. Back sleeping, on kind of on the flip side of that, it can worsen snoring and sleep apnea symptoms. It can also aggravate some acid reflux unless you elevate that upper body. So a few things to keep in mind with the back sleeping. And stomach sleeping. So this is the least recommended type of sleeping. It flattens the natural curve of the spine, twisting your neck kind of throughout the night. If you're sleeping on your stomach all night, can lead to back and neck pain. If you are a stomach sleeper, you want to use a really thin pillow, or actually no pillow at all is even best. Placing a pillow under your pelvis can reduce stress on the back as well. Stomach sleeping may reduce some snoring in some people, but it's still not as effective in reducing that snoring as side sleeping is. Um, we've talked a lot about the type of pillows to use if you're on these particular types of sleep positions, but your mattress is, and your pillows, but your mattress is just as important for your sleep position as well. We want to make sure that you've got a really comfortable mattress. There is on YouTube, there's a person called the Sleep Doctor, and I included this image because like he has a YouTube channel. He talks specifically about sleep. He, I believe, is a clinical psychologist, but a sleep expert. But he does have a recent video posted about the best mattresses of 2025, like the best mattresses for side sleepers and best mattresses for back pain. So he's got a lot of information on there. So if you're in the market for a new mattress to help improve your sleep based on the way you sleep, check out that YouTube channel. He's also got a lot of other videos on there just about sleep in general. So a lot of information if you want to check him out. Like I mentioned in the beginning when we were talking about the agenda, I definitely wanted to put in here, talk a little bit about shift work. So shift work is people who work night shifts. So working a non-traditional schedule can lead to something called shift work disorder. And it comes with symptoms like insomnia or excessive sleepiness, obviously, if you're working different hours than the rest of the world. It includes, if you tend to work night shift, those people who work night shift have a higher incidence of stroke, heart disease, depression, and just other overall and general health problems. There are some tips that we can talk about with shift work, or if you know someone, if you personally are not doing shift work or working night shifts, if you know someone who does, these are some tips to pass along. You want to make sure if you're drinking caffeine, drink caffeinated beverages early in your shifts. You want to take frequent breaks, move around a lot during your shift. Use bright light exposure during your wake hours too to adjust your body's melatonin. So again, the light and the darkness are big things when we come to sleep. And if you're working night shift, that really makes it difficult to get your body used to the normal sleep schedule. Same thing with shift workers, especially with shift workers. You want to, when you do finally lay down to sleep, I say at night, but actually during the day, when you get off your shift, you want to eliminate noise and light from your bedroom during the day. You want to use blackout curtains. You want to use earplugs. You want to prioritize your sleep on non-working days too. And of course, avoid driving while being sleepy. There is a lot of people can benefit from a sleep diary to note problems that they're seeing on a regular basis, because that can help give them something to share with their medical provider when they see them on a regular basis. Medical treatments for shift work are multifaceted and include scheduled naps and trying to get a few hours of consistent anchoring sleep every day. So anyone who works, like I said, shift work or night shift has some extra challenges, but obviously there are ways to help get a good restful night or restful day's sleep when it comes to that. So let's say you've kept a regular routine, you've got a great mattress, you've got great pillows. Let's say you've tried a lot of the things that we've already talked about. So let's talk a little bit about when to seek some medical help. So we've tried the behavior change. That is the first step toward better sleep. Um, Medical aids are a final resort when it comes to sleep habits. So there are definitely some natural options when it comes to medications or vitamins or supplements Some natural options would be melatonin, and I'm sure most people have heard of melatonin. It's just a natural hormone that helps you stay asleep. So it comes in different milligrams, and you can buy melatonin over the counter. So that's a natural option. Another natural option is tart cherry juice. Tart cherry juice actually contains melatonin and tryptophan. So it's natural compounds that actually help regulate the sleep cycles, and it can potentially improve your sleep duration and the quality of your sleep. The amount is consuming 1 to 2 ounces of a tart cherry juice concentrate daily, and you do it before bed, and it could actually be beneficial when it comes to that. So that's another natural option. Magnesium is another natural option that could improve your sleep. Magnesium helps your body produce melatonin. It helps your muscles relax. It calms the nervous system. There's a lot of different types of magnesium out there. So if you go into the drugstore or the grocery store or health food store and you're like, God, I don't know what type of magnesium to buy to help my sleep cycles or to help me sleep at night, there's lots of them out there, but the one that's generally considered the best type for sleep is magnesium glycinate. Again, there's lots of different types of magnesium, but magnesium glycinate is the one that is usually considered best for the sleep. The dosage on that particular magnesium glycinate is 350 milligrams, according to the Sleep Foundation, and you take that 1 to 2 hours before bed. Now, with all of this stuff, you always want to consult your provider before starting any new vitamins or any new supplements. There are different sleep aids that are prescription, and I say sleep aids. There's one called Provigil. Provigil is actually a stimulant, so it can actually be prescribed to promote wakefulness when, during the day. So it kind of alters the brain chemicals. So that way, when you go to sleep at night, you've been awake and use your energy during the day. It helps you sleep better at night. This is a prescription. And of course, you don't want to take it if you don't plan to be awake for several hours, but it's meant to be taken during the daytime. Before starting, like I said, any medication or any supplement, then you always want to make sure to be advised of course, the good sleep hygiene and the exercise, and, also make sure you talk to your family. Let's say your family's up and you're trying to sleep during the day. That's, again, you want a really good, quiet bedroom when it comes to sleep habits, that really good sleep conducive area that you're sleeping in. So those are the medications, the supplements, vitamins. There's apps, as there is an app for every single thing out there. So these are three that are that I've heard of, that I know enough about. Headspace is a mindfulness app. It offers guided meditation and some sleep aids and some wellness tools within that app. Calm is another app, relaxation and sleep app that provides soothing music and even stories to help you promote better rest. And Sleep Cycle is a smart alarm clock. So it tracks your sleep patterns and it wakes you during your lightest sleep phase. So again, I know these are all apps and I told you to avoid your phone, but these are all just apps really kind of using the sounds and clocking, like I said, tracking sleep patterns and things of that nature. So those are three, but I'm sure there are many, many others out there. These are just the ones that I'm most familiar with. And I believe all of those apps are free apps. All right, so obviously after everything that we have talked about and gone through, we want to make sure that the healthier life begins with a good night's sleep. Better sleep means better health. You want to make those choices to actually change your sleep habits. Start with some small habits. You don't have to change every single thing at once. And of course, your healthcare provider and your Symbol Health coach can offer a roadmap and coaching to help get you that better, more restful sleep as it comes about. We just wanted to make sure that you're aware that how much sleep plays a part in your overall health. So I wanted to make sure that we open it up for a few minutes, answer any questions you all may have. You can add any questions if you've got questions to the chat box. And also, I want to remind everyone before you log off, make sure you get credit for attending today. So by clicking on the link in the chat box. And if any of your co-workers were unable to attend today, we will be sending out a makeup video information in the next few days. So watch for that so you can make sure to get credit for that.